in this problem, we are going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, that represents the line that passes through the points 2, 1, and 5, -8.
What do you know? You know the line passes through the points 2, 1, and 5, -8. What do you need? You need an equation of the line. So what's your plan? Use the 2 points to find the slope. Then use the slope and 1 point to solve for the y-intercept. Step 1. Use the 2 points to find the slope.
And we've done this before. We did this in the last section, right? This is the difference between the y's, here and here, divided by the difference between the x's, right? And that'll help us find the slope. And this, what they said here, don't worry about this. We'll get to this in a second. It may sound complicated, but it's actually rather simple.
Use the slope formula. Substitute in the coordinates. Then simplify. So the slope of the line is -3.
Shouldn't be any surprises there, right? The difference between -8 and -1 is -9. The difference between 5 and 2 is 3. When we reduce it, it comes out to -9. It comes out to -3/1, right? Just so you remember, again, this -3/1 means that the difference between the up and down is -3, and the difference between the side to side is 1, although we don't write it in this case.
Step 2. Use the slope and the coordinates of one of the points to find b. Can you use either point to find the y-intercept? Yes. You can substitute the slope and the coordinates of any point on the line into the form y equals m times x plus b, and solve for b, the y-intercept.
So what we're going to have here is we're going to have everything we can to solve this other than the b, and that's going to tell us where this graph passes the y-intercept. So we'll have a y, we'll have an m, which is our slope, and an x, which is our x value. And we can use, if we use, well, yeah, we'll move on so we can see what they mean by that.
Use slope-intercept form.
So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to say this, you're going to hear me say this probably a million times. Just keep remembering that, and we'll be good.
Substitute -3 for m, 2 for x, and 1 for y.
The -3 that we put here is the slope that we found. We found that the difference between the y's divided by the difference between the x's, right? We got -9/3. That's why we put that there. The 2 comes from here. And as long as I put the number that came with the 2, so the 2 and the 1 come together, and I put that where the y is, right? Because this is our x value, this is our y value. That should help us out to be able to figure out what this b is.
Now solve for b. The y-intercept, b, equals 7.
Sorry for that ding that just popped up there. But just to remember, this is -3 times 2 is -6, and then we subtracted 6 from both sides. Sorry, we added 6 to both sides, right? That tells us what our y-intercept is now.
Step 3. Substitute the slope and the y-intercept into the slope-intercept form.
So there's a lot of shuffling around down here. I know we're doing a lot of substitution. We're putting things here, putting things there, and we're just trying to figure out what it all is going to mean at this point.
Use slope-intercept form. Substitute -3 for m and 7 for b. An equation of the line is y equals -3 times x plus 7.
whole bunch of crazy stuff just went on there, right? I mean, I could see how this could be very confusing about what the heck did we just do here? So just to remind ourselves, right? So we found our slope to be -3. And we know that eventually, somewhere down the road here, that that's going to have to be our m and our y equals mx plus b, because what we're really looking for is just this simple equation here that's going to help us graph this thing. And then we didn't know what the b was. We didn't know what the y-intercept was going to be, so we had to do some substitution with the x and the y. And once we figured that out, we figured the b had to be 7. So really, all that we were looking for in this whole big process here was the slope and the b. And we found those. We get the -3 to go here and the +7 to go here. We'll do more of these, and as we practice, hopefully this will become something that's a little bit more intuitive and just kind of makes sense. I know it's a big abstract kind of thought process that's going on here, and a lot of substitution, a lot of like, what the heck does this all mean? But I promise, if we stick with it and you practice it, it will make sense, and it should be no problem.
Now it's your turn.
So again, do your best. See if you can figure this one out. We'll certainly do a lot of these in class, but you want to. My suggestion here is find the slope first. Actually, going to have to find the slope first, and then plug in your x and your y's into the y equals mx plus b equation to get your b. And then you're going to just, the final step is to put that slope in and your b in. So pause it. Actually, I'll give you some answers to look at here. Pause it, see if you can figure it out, and we'll come back and we'll see what you got. All right, so the right answer was y equals 1/2 x minus 7/2. Let's see how they got that. So we found the slope by figuring out the differences between the y's, right? The difference between -3 and -2 is -1. And the difference between 1 and 3 is -2. Now you could have gone it the other way. You could have done -2 minus -3, and you would have gotten +1. And if you said what the difference between these two, 3 and 1, and you would have gotten 2, and it still would have come out the same. So the slope in this case, when we did it, they said it was -1 over -2, which we know that when you divide two negative numbers, it becomes positive. So our slope is 1/2. And now we go back again, if you remember correctly, and substitute that in for our m, because m is slope. I don't know why they decided to use m for slope. I could probably look that up and figure it out. It would be so much easier if it just was if it was y equals sx plus b or something like that. But they don't. So, and then we can choose either of these 2 points to put in. In this case, they chose this point, right? So our x goes here, right? This is our x's. Our x's are here. Our y is -2, so we've substituted the y's, and our m is 1/2. And this is going to help us figure out what our b is. And don't forget, the b is the y-intercept where it crosses that y-axis. And 3 times 1/2 is 3/2, and if we subtract 3/2 from both sides, we would get -7/2, and that would give us our answer. All right, I think I'm gonna end this video here, and we'll come back and do some graphing in the next one.